I wanted to cut some pencils to 2 3/4 inches, and so I made this small sled which with a fixed stop, which allows me to do just that. The trouble is that that is all it does, and so now I want to cut some pencils to a different size, and so rather than make another sled with another fixed stop, I want to make a sled with an adjustable stop. Another thing about this sled is that you'll notice that I've got a small scrap of wood clamped to the end of the bandsaw table there, which prevents the sled sliding right through and being cut in half, so that would be no use to anybody there. So I want to incorporate something into the new sled which will help prevent that. Right, I have this this piece, which is actually 2 pieces of 12mm ply glued together. I could have used 3/4 inch ply, but I didn't have any of the right size, so 2 pieces of 12mm or 1/2 inch ply glued together will work just fine for this job. So the first job is to cut a slot for this piece of T-track to fit in there, and then I have this piece of oak which has been cut to fit in the mitre slot of the bandsaw, and that will fit perpendicular to the T-slot after the T-slot's been fitted. So first job, let's head over to the router table and cut that slot. Right, so that fits in there nicely. Before I screw that down, I have this 8mm bolt and this old knob that I've come off something, probably an old machine or something, and it fits on there okay. The bolt head will slide in the T-track and hold the adjustable stop down, but it's a little large to fit in there just yet, so I need to file the head so that it fits in the slot properly. I did put some epoxy, fast setting epoxy, underneath this T-track, but I can't show you me doing that because I forgot to switch the camera on. So I'm just putting these screws in, and the screws I'm using are these number 6 by 1/2 inch or 3.5mm by 12mm, and I hope that they're not coming through the other side, so that's fine. I may have to just file the tops of these screws a little bit because they're a little bit proud still, but I'll deal with that later. Now I want to use a little bit of this oak that I cut to fit on there, and it wants to be on this end. Now I'm satisfied that this is a true right angle. I cut it on my table saw using my crosscut sled, and just double check, it's bang on. So that slot is parallel with that edge, because I know that because of the way that I did it on the router table. This will be parallel with this edge. In fact, I'll put it right on the edge. I'll glue and tack that in place now. Okay, I found this small piece of softwood which will work as a rear fence, and I plan to put it about 4 inches from here. So I'll just glue and tack that in place now. Here we go. If I hold this small combination square in place there while I put a tack in there, that will ensure it's parallel with this edge and therefore parallel with the T-track, which is important. Do the same at this end. And a couple in the middle. I've elongated that hole slightly to ensure that that fits in the corner there. This bolt is now going to be too long and I'll need to cut it, and I just need to figure out by how much, and I reckon it wants about 7/8 of an inch off it. I've set this combination square to 7/8 of an inch, which is the amount I want to cut off this bolt. So if I put a pencil mark on the vise there, on the vise jaw, and put the bolt in up to there, up to that pencil mark, and clamp it down, and cut it there, then I've cut off 7/8 of an inch. I've actually cut off fractionally more if I do that because of the curve of the saw blade. A little tip with if you're going to cut a threaded rod or a bolt or something like that, I always put a nut on, because you'll always get frayed or burred threads at the end, and it can be difficult to get the nut on. So if I put the nut on, and then I can use that just to clean the threads up after the cut. So I'll put this in there. I won't make sure I won't go past the mark. Get my hacksaw and chop it off. There we go. I'll put the bolt in there, put the stop in place, put the washer on, put the knob on, that's fixed, that's fine. Next job is to cut the slot on the bandsaw and figure out some way of stopping it going right through. I figure that if I put something on the back here, it can stop against this part of the table. If I'd measured properly at the beginning, I could have made this area shorter so that this finished up here, but anyway, I didn't. I've got this off cut of oak. I'll cut it to length, and then I'll cut this thin bit off and glue that onto there, and then I can glue a piece onto that which will stop against there. I'm tempted to put a couple of brads in here, but it's likely to split if I do that, so I think I'll put a clamp on it. It's been just over an hour, so I can take the clamps off now. I still think I'll put a couple of screws in. that stops it fine. I just need to shave a little bit off the bottom of this section here so that it doesn't catch on this part here. Okay, if you got this far, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, please subscribe, and don't forget to hit that little bell below to make sure you get notifications of new videos when they arrive.